Hello and welcome into the Beat Sessions. I'm your host, Mitchell Wherry. It's Friday, July 15th. I hope you've all had an outstanding week. And there's no doubt about who we have to kick things off with. Their new record is entitled The Other Side of Make Believe. This is their 7th studio album, and it's their follow-up to 2018's Marauder. And I absolutely love Interpol. I've seen this band 11 times in 5 different countries over the years. I've done just about anything to go out of my way to see them when given the opportunity, and thankful for doing that. These guys are phenomenal live. If you've never seen them, if you have even just the slightest desire to, buy a ticket, go check them out. A little side note too, I haven't never seen them play Stella Was a Diver and She Was Always Down. They have not played it once when I've gone to a show of theirs. And after that many times, I feel like there's got to be a story. So if you know that story, please share that in the comments below. Or if you have seen them play that song, that would be great to hear about as well. I got to admit, I'm suspect of that. I think I want some video evidence. I think I need to see some physical proof. If you're saying that you've seen them play that song, but I forgive them for it. If you follow the channel, you know what my tastes are. This band, there's so much about what they do sonically that just hits all the right feels. The post-punk, the new wave, just the guitar exchange between Paul and Daniel over the years, and the way that, you know, Carlos D, I miss the guy, but you listen to those early records, and the way that his staccato style of bass just sort of waltzes around that guitar play. And then there's Sam in the back just driving it all on the skins. These guys are one of the best bands in the last 25 years. I will just say it. And you can disagree if you want, but I think that what this outfit brings to the table is outstanding. I love the style that they established, and I love the different ways that they've experimented and, you know, explored different styles on their records over the years. You know, I love the driving tempo. I love the majority of the songs on Turn on the Bright Lights, and pretty much all the songs, actually. You even think of mellow moments like Leif Erikson or Hands Away, and the percussion, the tempo. There's still this sense of urgency on all of those songs. And I love that. I love when Interpol is just hitting it 100 miles an hour. But when they venture into this territory, and on this new record in particular, I feel like they're hitting all the marks on this record where critics in the past maybe felt that they weren't. And there's definitely going to be criticism of this project, I think. But what I love about this record is that it feels like there's a sense of maturity in themselves and in themselves as musicians. And so albums like Our Love to Admire, those more mellow moments, there's a lot of good hard rock and stuff on that record, I feel, but I think mostly of their self-titled record and what they were looking for on that album. And I think the biggest thing with that record is that it lacked a lot of that driving tempo that we all love when we go see Interpol or when we throw on a record from them. And, you know, and even if they are going for something mellow on a project, it's nice to have moments where you get that. And it just felt like, you know, even with some of the best stuff they've done sonically, like I love a lot of the music on their self-titled record, but I think the album overall, all those compositions fail to come together the way that the songs on Turn on the Bright Lights or Antics or basically any of their other records do. So what I love about The Other Side of Make Believe is that, you know, they're going for that feel again, but I think that this record, after all these years and, you know, just growing as people, has just come together so nicely. And I don't think that I'm not going to argue that this is one of their best records, but I will argue that Daniel and Paul and Sam, I think, are all putting on their best performances on record on this album. And I think that that's what makes this thing so fun to listen to. Flood and Alan Moulder brought aboard to produce on this thing as well. So I think that listening to the way these songs unfold and the different textures and layers that are revealed is outstanding, and they certainly add to that. This is a record that is going to take a couple listens, and especially if you're an Interpol fan and you're not feeling it, I really would urge you to give it that second listen, because I think that is going to propel you to that third, and this thing will ultimately grow on you. I've listened to it 5 times now, and I'm loving it. I absolutely love this record, and just the way that all of these guys are shining. I think Sam is playing with some really cool timing signatures on the skins on this thing. You know, Daniel, whether he's on the piano or whether he's on guitar, really playing with some fun space. You know, where there's always been kind of a frenzied, again, sense of urgency to some of his guitar playing. You get more ambience and more space, and I love that, the way that he's exploring that on this record. And then Paul, I think that this is, you know, since taking on bass duties, his best performance to date. I think that he's fulfilled that role admirably. And I think lyrically, he's put on his best performance on this record. I think this album All of these songs are just some of the finest writing he's done as far as lyrics, and I would definitely encourage you to pull those up and follow along while you're checking this thing out. It's this is a great record. Like I said, give it a couple of listens, let it grow on you. I'm loving the mellow feel. I really just enjoyed just taking it easy this morning, enjoying my coffee and having the headphones on and taking this thing in. It kicks off with Tony. I love the feel of the piano right off the bat and the way that establishes the mood of the record. Get this cool little bounce in the melody on that particular track. I really like what Daniel's playing with on that thing. And it's I just like the way that the piano is going to carry this particular track and the way that it builds. Fables, your second song, just a nice mid-tempo groove. This is a melody and a hook that might take a couple listens to grow on you, but it hooks you hard when it finally gets you. I really like this song and the progression of this track and where it goes. Into the Night, your third song, cool riff exchange, one of my favorite things about this band. And I really like the way that Sam's drums are working in the background on that song as well. This thing is mellow, but it's got this good chunky groove to it as well. Mr. Credit, your fourth song, is one of my favorites. I love the build and the intro on this song, and I love the way that it just continues to progress. This song is definitely one of the finest examples of the way all these different compositions explore so much within. Some of these songs are pretty brief, but I would say that some of their longest work is on this song, especially Into the Night. I believe has about a 5.5 minute runtime. There's definitely some long songs on this record, but Mr. Credit, it's just I love the bass on this particular track. I think Paul's killing it, and again a song with just a good bounce and good rhythm. I really like the structure of that track. Something Changed is your fifth song, Haunting. I really like this song, and just Sam and Daniel both, the timing on the percussion and the way it's playing with Daniel's piano, just marvelous to listen to. It's one that is time as you listen to it again and again. It's really great, that journey from start to finish on this track. Renegade Hearts is your sixth song, another one of my favorite. Mellow, but it balances that good riff exchange and some of that urgency that I think is necessary on an Interpol record. I think ultimately that's one of the things that really defines their sound, and like you want that there no matter what they're working with. Passenger, your seventh track, you get these I love the hollow percussion on this song, and just balanced with a solid riff. Another fine song. Greenwich, your eighth track. Riff opens up briefly, and then you get this just like cool track with a thick bass, like guitars balanced with that. Another nice track, honestly. And then Grand Hotel, your ninth song. This song, very ambient intro. It's like subtle music that brings this thing in for about 45 seconds. And then the vocal brings in the music and it just kicks right in. Kind of reminds me of All the Rage Back Home a little bit. Big Shot City, your 10th song. This is a cool track. This is a great penultimate track. I think that this might be one of the I think at the end of the day, as time goes on, this might go down as one of the better Interpol songs out there. Just love the thick bass. You get that signature guitar play again that builds into this frenzied riff. I really like the way that song progresses into that style. It's one of the moments where you finally get that, and I think I love Daniel, and when he gets just into that mode and getting it on the 10th song, the penultimate track, waiting patiently through this record to get that, it makes that moment just that much more rich and so much more worth it. And then Go Easy, Palermo is your final song. This is an interesting way to close this album, and it really kind of reminds me of stylistically what they're doing with Leif Erikson on Turn on the Bright Lights, but it's a solid song, but just delightfully understated in a way. One of the shorter compositions on this track. And, I like the 11-song structure on this thing, harkening back to Turn on the Bright Lights. This is a cool record. I'm definitely going to give this thing a vinyl, please. My bias aside, I think that there is some fine musicianship on this record, and I think that Daniel, Paul, and Sam are all putting on their best performances to date on this record. Makes it an exceptional listen. Hope you find this review helpful. Hope you enjoy listening to this record. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel, do all things to help me blow this project up in 2022, and stay tuned throughout the week for more album reviews. We will see you next time on the Beat Sessions.